Hello. Can we hear you?
Nice.
The
guy
just
lives at Ada, and he's been putting a lot of Chesterfield stuff on.
Right. Is it anybody we know then, or?
His name's Phil Spooner. I don't know him. I went round to pick it up yesterday, and unfortunately, it wasn't in. His wife, because I was hoping to have a chat with him and find out, because he don't know what he's selling, basically.
right. Hi everybody, just let us know if you can hear us, if you are there.
What, on eBay?
Yeah, and
I'll get out of your way.
Yeah, we're on camera, Liz.
with the Sheffield Wednesday opening at Floodlights from '67.
Oh, right.
So it didn't stand out on advert.
Yeah. And why did he pair it up with that one? 'Cause that's quite easy to get.
No, he obviously no, because I said to his wife yesterday, I said, I really wish I'd rung him and told him to switch it over and advertise it, and he told me he only got £78 for it. It's £200 every day.
I'm going to say, I'm sure, weren't there one on last year about 200 and something?
Yeah. And Sarbrook, and that went for 250.
So we obviously don't know what he's.
No, I don't know.
So I wonder if he is then, or has he got them from somewhere and he's just.
So I'm guessing, looking at his wife, I thought he's probably got to be the same age as me, late 60s.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there is dads or something. Well, I've got his phone number. I'm going to give her a ring because apparently he's got a load more, but his wife said his computer's acting up at the moment, so he can't list anything else at the moment. He's listed a lot from 47, 48 onwards.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of old ones.
Yeah. Wanting the stuff I'm really wanting now. I only want 7 of them. Yeah. 3 of them from 45, 6.
Right. So we might have them then. If
We've
he's
got
got a lot
that's
of.
what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I think I only want 26 home and away to be complete from 45, 6.
But they're at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's good. And does that include friendlies and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just some things just suddenly turn up out of the blue.
Yeah.
I know different times Benno will come on a Saturday and say a match like he'll say you haven't managed to get over so and so like, and he'll
The same I rang the 2 guys who I rang here and I rang a guy called Dave Smith as well because I both knew that I knew they both wanted have and elect. And
when you went got on this.
basically they both forgot to bid on it.
I think who else I've met with today. Oh, Rebel Clothing.
That's what it said,
Phil's going to be here about 7, so he's just running a
I've
little.
only ever just coming out the reception. I think I've only ever seen it advertised twice.
Yeah, I can remember seeing it last year when it were on eBay, about 200 and something quid it were on for. But that's the only time I've ever seen. I've never seen that. What's the other one? Sarbrook.
FC Sarbrook.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that one on anything.
I managed to get that free in earlier on the year from Michael Hewitt at Leeds.
Oh, yeah, I bet, yeah.
And I got it for 45 quid for it.
That's a bargain,
Yeah, it was, yeah. Because Andrew Fisher, a mate of mine from Pembrokeshire, he sold his copy of Sarbrook on eBay earlier this year for nearly 250.
Really?
Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah, that were a bargain. That 45 quid of them.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? We're in prime position here.
Wait. Just be careful what you say because you are live. It's okay. It's not a children. I don't have a lot of children.
Well, nowhere.
How you doing? I thought you were kicking that then.
No, I was
I
just
went down
trying
about
to
4 weeks. Really
stand it down a bit so that it doesn't trip you up.
I've still not sure.
What?
There's a big hole there. I thought they were too big to fit through that, but clearly not. That's good news.
Well, just for a month, I mean, you can buy that.
Ah,
Okay, we're online.
all right.
It is working.
First time?
First
Well
time.
done.
Yeah. That's 2 months in a row that I've got it working first time.
Right, let me just see what, I've just had a notification from John, is he here? Can't see him, so he might be apologising for coming.
Yeah. Other day.
Oh, no, he's left me a voicemail, which I can't take, so. Right, it is 7 o'clock. Thank you for those who got everything ready and seating and everything along those lines. Come on, Kev, what are you doing here?
Switch that off, Phil,
Hey.
There's probably somebody saying that they've seen you.
Yeah, oh, you're
probably
straight
is.
on, you are.
We're right on it here.
You're straight on. So yes, the November supporters forum. Just in case people haven't met Lucy before, this is Lucy Parker, who, when were you appointed as supporter liaison officer? Can you remember? Has it all gone in the
It's
past?
all gone in the past, I'm afraid.
Maybe 6 weeks ago or something like that. 2 months, maybe.
September.
Right there. Anyway, a while back.
3 months. 3 months.
And then she went straight on holiday. You know, it's one of those.
3 months.
Twice.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, you went to the barbers, Nigel. By the look of it.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's absolutely.
Yes. Off the side, not the top so much, but you know. So, right, let's kick off, and thanks to everybody online for joining us. Don't forget, you can get questions in online, and Marcia here is getting up to speed with what you're saying. The first thing that I want to mention is in terms of the committee membership. As people will know, we asked for people to show an interest for joining the committee, and we had 3 people: Stella, Adele, and Sarah. I can see Sarah. I can see Adele.
And Stella.
Oh, Stella's there as well. You normally sit there, Stella. You normally sit there. You've moved,
Came in late.
and a decision has been made initially between myself, Paul Stankard, and Nigel, who's been voted in as vice chair of the forum. So congratulations, Nigel. That at the next full committee meeting, which is on the 23rd of November, ahead of the Barrow, will formally welcome them as committee members. Paul Goodwin has stepped down, but will continue to come on Thursday nights when he's able. He's obviously injured at the moment, as most people will know, and to anything to do with travel as well, with his position as the Barrow Inn. So there were 3 people for 2 vacancies. So we've made the decision that we'll accept all 3, and then if it comes to a vote next springtime, one of those 3 new members will be drawn at lots to stand in the election, along with 2 original members who again will be drawn at lots, because it'll be 2 years at that point in time. It may or may not come to that, but that's the thing, and that'll be ratified hopefully at the full committee meeting in a week or 2. So as soon as that's ratified, we'll put the new structure onto the website and co. In terms of things that we received from the last meeting, and again we'll receive tonight, continue to let us know online. Andrew has said, after the success of the early bird ticket offer, season ticket offer that'll be, and the high take up, how does the club propose new fans, especially children who need an adult, to be sat together? That's the first of a 2-part question. So I suspect that, Lucy, will be relatively easy. If all the seats were taken up, it might mean a move, but I'm sure the club would swap them to a position. Yeah. So it's about season ticket holders. If somebody now wants to bring the children or other people with them, but all of the seats around them are sold, I'm sure the club would happily work with them to find a place where they can all sit together.
It's been done before, I think,
It's-
anyway, so. yeah.
It's something that the club does on the daily. Obviously, people change their mind. People then want season tickets, or people can no
Yeah.
longer have them, and things like that. But the stadium isn't sold out. There's plenty of seats in every stand. Well, bar the south stand, that's quite in demand. But it's I believe it's £10 to move a seat, which is an admin cost.
Yeah, because it's
The
the extra,
season
the different
ticket.
ticket, isn't
It's
it?
Card,
a
yeah.
ticket, it's like staff. It's a bit of it's £10, which I believe is a reasonable cost to move a seat for the season. So people are always able to move the north stand, for example. That's got a lot of spare tickets that are available for season tickets. So people can always sit with the children. If it is a block where, say it was the south stand, in order to then have that ticket, they would have to move. But I guess of not going for the early bird when it was.
Yeah, no,
on offer.
absolutely.
But
But-
we can work around.
To Andrew is yes, that can be done. No problem. He's added a unrelated but a good question, and it's not so much about our watching of the matches, but what's the short to medium term plan with the academy? What's the pathway to the first team, and are we encouraging the development of local talent? Well, I think the answer to all of those is yes. There is. Yeah, I'll write it up, Andrew. But yeah, the youth team play in youth team leagues. They also play against older people in under 23 in an under 23 league. And they also play, is it an under, is there an under 18, under 19 and under 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the under 23 are generally quite younger players.
Yeah.
That play in
Central
17, 18.
Central Midlands League, isn't it, that one?
You're putting us all on the spot now, aren't you? Yeah,
So
but
in that league.
no, Central League. They're in the
Yes,
Central
Central
League.
Central Midlands League last season.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. They're in the
Yeah.
Central League,
Yeah.
which has got the reserve teams of clubs like Bolton Wanderers are always and Grimsby Town. So a few weeks ago, for instance,
We beat Mansfield.
we did. I was there. A few weeks ago, we played Grimsby in the Central League. A few days after we played Grimsby here in the league, and the Grimsby manager indicated he's going to play all professionals, all his subs, 7 subs or 9 subs or whatever, 7 subs that didn't play, plus others that didn't play. And as it happens, Chesterfield weren't able to do that. They played a younger side and only lost 2-0. And actually did really, really well. But so there's opportunity to play against men, and that's where a lot. You know, we talk to all of the coaches, and they all say playing against men is where you don't want to be beaten 8-0 every week. But if you're playing against men and lose 1-0 or 2-0, you're developing quite well. And they're doing really well in all of the leagues as well. So the development of local talent, well, Justin Tellis, the academy recruitment and development manager, is spreading his tentacles everywhere, and he's set up, I think, the most telling thing back in the day when schools used to do a lot of football that clubs now do. There were county matches, and they seem to have disappeared off the planet, or they do around here. So he started up a Derbyshire team, and he started up a Derbyshire women's team as well. And so you can bring people from all around the area that aren't necessarily just in the Chesterfield Academy to look at as an exercise. So it's a long haul, but I think all of the elements there to answer Andrew's question, short to medium term plan with the academy and the pathway to the first team, are there. And Liam Jessup, on the verge of becoming a full international for Gibraltar, not quite made it yet. And the lad who played, go on, remember his name, in the academy, who played for Malta youth team against England. Yes, come on, we all ought to remember his name, but Gunnar is his first name. Gunnar Elliott, I think that might be about right. Nobody's going to argue with you, Kev, but I think that might be right. So, yeah, it's look, now the step up to the next level, category 3, is a massive step that's about real estate and employees. So I think there's only Chesterfield and Bromley that are only Cat 4 in the division at the moment, but it's about a lot of pound notes. That's serious pound notes.
Just had to get back into it to start with, don't
Yeah.
we? So
Well, they're competing, and they get, is it 8 or 9 young lads funded now each year while they're in the football? It's 8. It's definitely 8.
yeah,
Definitely 8. Might be 9. So thanks for that, Andrew. Alistair has asked, and Lucy's aware of this and has responded. Just wondered if Apple Pay and PayPal could be added to payment options for tickets. It would make paying for tickets for the away match. Away match is a lot more simple than having to get card details and then bank app or authentication authorization with each transaction. And Lucy's responded, I personally agree that these would increase accessibility, but would involve a large change with providers. The club are weighing up all the options, but it's not a quick fix. But just explain a little bit more about what's happened this week about wallets. Are you up on that?
Right, okay, yeah. I'll address the question first. So I agree, I Apple Pay with everything. It's quite a bad habit of mine. It makes buying tickets too easy. And from working in digital marketing, I know there's a lot of abandoned baskets and things like that, because when you get to the payment, you just can't to get your card. So I do agree, and it is something that the club would like to do. There's no objections to it in terms of a practicality point of view. However, we have just finished swapping to World Pay, which has been about a very, very long process of changing, and you have to change every card machine, and you have to change every system, and it's been a massive, long change that we have had to do. I have spoke to a few companies who offer those services and sent those onto the accounts team to review, but it's just not something that we can offer at the moment. I don't think it is being looked into properly, and it has been looked into since we were back. Well, it's something that's always been on the radar, but I did also send this email over to the accounts team, but it's just not something that's a quick fix. For places like ASOS, it's much easier for them to kind of implement, but it's just not something, it's not a case of we talk to our web developer and get it added onto the bottom. It'd mean involving changing all our payment systems, the shop and things like that. But whenever we do look at upgrading things, it is something that we will look to implement. And then we've now introduced NFC tickets. So we ran a trial of 200 people, round about 200 people, with the tickets to see how they went for a game. Because if we have 200 people that couldn't get in, that agreed to do the trial, we could then deal with it on a match day and get everybody in before kick-off. Whereas if we ran it to everybody at once and they didn't work, it'd be a bit of a nightmare. They'd be kicking off and there wouldn't be many people, like kicking off on the pitch, and there wouldn't be many people in the stands. So we have introduced those. The long-term vision, which is what a lot of clubs have done, is to move away from print-at-home tickets and introduce digital tickets. It is a bit forward at the moment for some people. However, I think over the years, as we start to use these NFC tickets more, so for example, if you go and catch a flight, you might have an NFC ticket, or if you get in a train, as people become more familiar, I think that it will be adopted quite nicely. I can show you what they look like.
Do we know what NFC stands for? I know what it means, but I don't know what it stands for.
Near something contact or something.
Yeah.
Source contact.
Near field communication.
Communication.
There you
I knew it
go.
was
Like we
near.
all knew all these three-letter acronyms. Yeah. But,
This is how they look. So here, this is when I actually got the day off on Saturday, so I came to the game with my family and I bought 4 tickets to the FA Cup. So the only thing that you have to do is you can't send the tickets to other people. You can send an email, which is something that we're just looking at the moment. It's obviously the first time that we have rolled this out. So there will be a few issues in terms of just getting used to them. So the idea is that I'd scan and then I'd go through and I'd pass the phone back to my cousin, and then he'd scan and then we'd pass the phone back to get into the ground. But in the future, pardon?
I say no, my look, I dropped the phone.
In the future, season tickets will be like that. Not straight away, but the way that a lot of football clubs are going is that will be season tickets. There'll always be other ways. It won't be something that's forced on people.
I'm going to say, what if some people like elderly haven't got that sort of?
No, it'll never be forced. It'll never be forced on people. There'll always be the option. So it might be that we have this and a season ticket card for a couple of seasons, but there won't ever be people won't ever be alienated just because they don't like these tickets. But for some people, it's a little bit more convenient having them in the digital wallet, or like people who don't use the bank cards and just Apple Pay everything. It's kind of tucked in a virtual wallet.
Yeah, Ollie, you've got quite a few matches. Have you come across any that you can put into your Apple Wallet or
Yeah, no,
anything?
I don't know what Apple is. I only use
Yeah.
But it's a Google wallet.
Yeah, Google Wallets
Yeah.
into
It's
Wallets.
pretty easy, actually.
Yeah, no, I use it for railway tickets and
Yeah,
airplane
yeah,
tickets,
yeah,
but I've
yeah.
not come across a
Yeah.
football one.
No, I've used it for football as well, and it does work quite easily. And it's just a case of keeping it there,
Yeah.
stick it in the reader. That's it.
Because the big advantage for that, of course, it doesn't need a Wi-Fi signal
No.
to work.
No.
Whereas sometimes if you've still got it in and you've got to download it, and there's thousands of people,
Yeah.
you know, Wembley, sponsored by EE, you can't get a signal when you're going into a big match. You have to walk back down the hill.
Yeah.
Uh,
My son is
you know,
absolutely desperate to have it in the Google Wallet because it's
Yeah.
so much easier.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is agree with what you say, Lucy, that it should be other alternatives for those
Oh,
people
definitely.
Yeah.
who don't like using
Yeah.
that system.
yes.
There'll definitely always be a reasonable alternative, whether that's a card or I don't know. I assume that cards will continue. I just don't want to say it and then
Yeah,
Well,
well, something
nothing's been
similar
said
along
not
those
to,
lines, a
but-
physical thing.
yeah, there'll be something
Or some
physical, as
physical
well.
thing, yeah.
We'd never alienate
Yeah.
a fan base.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, President Donald will be having all play on Bitcoin won't he? soon, whatever that might be.
Can I just check, did you say that you weren't able to transfer tickets? Because I've just bought 5 today and bought 2 for some friends, and I normally WhatsApp
Is that
them
one
across
over,
to them,
yeah.
but I've got them, I'm like, because they usually come a lot later than us as
Yeah.
well.
yeah. Did you buy them into NFCs or were they print at home tickets?
I did get the NFC ones.
The
and I'm
NFCs.
Thinking,
So you can forward the email to them
right,
and say to them, so
Use
you
number
get
3, use the first one, use the
Yeah.
second one, use the third
Yeah.
one.
get
Yeah.
them as a
as the
structure.
list, yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
the list and it's got
Yeah.
Apple and
They
Google.
do work as a screenshot as well, so you can screenshot it and forward your screenshot by WhatsApp.
Good
The
thinking,
NFCs.
Because no, the
NFCs
NFCs don't.
bad thinking.
If it's because it's
Everyone I've ever done, actually.
no, that's
NFCs
the
work
print
as
at one.
screenshots.
No, they do work by.
Has it still got the? Is it still got the code on it? Then has
Yeah.
it got the? Still got the?
We do both. Try it out.
What? So these, if you were to screenshot this and send it to someone, it works.
Yeah,
Very
they're all
interesting.
screenshots.
It's worth trying. It's worth trying in the
Do you
experiment.
know what?
Isn't it? Yeah.
If we could do that, how
They're all
great.
screenshots. Everyone, Cavani,
Well, that's-
everybody.
That's
Okay.
tomorrow morning's job, isn't
I
it?
was about to say, me and Adam Crute are going to be going through those turnstiles like we're on a, what do you call it, with the horses.
Carousel.
Carousel. We'll be
We'll
going
try
through
it
them.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
But if not, alternatively, you can definitely forward the email and you say, I'll have the top
Yeah,
three,
but
and you have the
next
top
to
two.
it, just say download your ticket.
Yeah. So there is ways around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's Watford that have no print at home tickets at all. Everything
Oh,
is-
right, okay.
and it's
Did anybody do print home at Watford last season, or is that something they've introduced this year?
Don't know
What
if
did
it's
people at
Watford.
Watford last season?
There is one
Yeah.
club that's
Yeah.
completely NFC. They don't do any print
Yeah.
at homes. I can't remember.
Their instructions for putting up
So-
screen
Yeah.
scanning were really good.
I mean, this is a bit difficult. What if you haven't got a printed home ticket? What do you do?
You just use your normal ticket. They'll never. They won't be stopping. They won't be stopping. It's not to take away any current methods of ticketing that we have. It's just to add an extra method for people should they wish to use it. There's no kind of funneling people into using them at all. It's just if you'd like to use it, it's another way to get into the ground. And if you don't, then all the current methods will still carry on.
What we
till the
said,
end of the season.
clubs only do these other sort of tickets.
Yeah.
What happens in that situation?
Well, they've not thought it through properly, have they?
We're obviously a very community-focused club, so before any changes like that, we would always consult with people. We wouldn't do anything that would. Well, this is the purpose of these meetings, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you go to this place, which only does it.
Yeah, so i.e. if we visit there in the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but if that ever happens, that is something that we'd be able to talk about with them, and we'd sort something out. We'd never make it like that, whether it's we ring the ticket office and ask them physical, or anything like that.
I mean, if they've got,
It was club anyway.
I don't know. I can't remember. Adam Crute's been telling me for days and days and days, and I cannot remember for the life of
You've
me.
blanked him out, haven't you?
Barnet.
But if you'd have asked me, I don't even know. I don't think they're even in our league. I think it's just an example of how the technology is being adopted. But it's just like contactless. Nobody would have ever used contactless 5 years ago, and now it's.
Can we not keep some old-fashioned tickets for such as Kev?
That's what I keep hinting at.
Yeah.
It's anti-season tickets.
Pardon?
When you start doing the season tickets.
Yeah.
Will you still get a season ticket?
You'll still get a card, so it's not something that we're adopting straight away.
When I print a ticket off it on my phone, I always bring tickets as well.
Just in case.
No,
Yeah.
we won't be doing.
Confidence in.
We won't be doing it. Like I say, for the season tickets as well from next season, it won't at all be only NFC tickets.
No.
There'll always be the option for cards and things like that. It won't be adopted that quickly. I'm not saying that we'd ever move to an only NFC tickets. It's just an example of these tickets must be popular because some clubs only use them. So the fact that we can offer them at our level is quite a big thing because we're moving with technology above where we are we're competing with other clubs off the pitch in a really good way, with things like ticketing and our softwares and the team.
And I suspect, and of course you never know what clubs are going to allow, if you do get somebody that is like that and we go away, they'll allow us to sell tickets via our system anyway.
I'm sure that
won't they?
it would never be an issue because
No, I don't think it's an issue.
we are, like I suppose, of these meetings,
Yeah.
we wouldn't do anything like that.
It might be Barnet because they never get any fans through the door at all, do they? Somebody called Marcia has sent something in. It was pasted on a League Two page by a Walsall fan, and this was his or her experience. What an absolute show! The organisation at Chesterfield today. God help future visitors. When asked in the community why, their response was, absolute joke getting in, two miserable old us on the door, took ages for us to get through the turnstile. People having to argue with the stewards due to poor organisation of seating, a sold out away end. They were in E1, E2, weren't they?
Yeah.
Rude stewards and my other half went to get drinks 5 minutes before half time. I noticed he didn't go.
No.
Before half time to beat the crowds and was gone nearly 20 minutes. Gave up waiting. There were massive long queues and only 3 people serving drinks, so he gave up waiting. So it's one of the things that we'll get with sold out, and you want everything to be perfect, Lucy. Of course, we all do every time for everybody. But if there's it's only one area for the away fans. So if there's a shortage of people, you're always going to look after your home fans first and foremost, aren't you?
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to say to this, I haven't received anything through formal channels.
No, this isn't through a
the
formal
SLO
channel.
email or anything like
No,
that.
it isn't
So
through a formal
if
channel.
that had been presented in that way, we'd probably have we would have taken it to the club and we would have said something.
And we don't normally
spoken
bring
to
stuff that
stewards
isn't
and
through a
things.
formal channel. But,
Yeah, it's good to know. One thing I
That
would
was the
say
thing,
as well.
is that I just wanted to bring,
Yeah.
I'd seen it and I mean,
Their other gripe was
We've
getting
had-
out. I seem to remember that.
Yeah,
post.
and
Was
I had, or other people, it wasn't just them, there was other people that had issues in the Walsall end, and it was the week before Notts County, and I just wanted to sort of make the club aware that this has been a problem here, you're going to have another sold out the following week. It's okay looking after our fans as well, but I won't ever go to Scunthorpe because of the treatment that I had there.
yeah.
There's a few grounds that I will never go to again because of
I contacted Martin
issues.
after our match because of an incident in the car park.
Yes.
So, I don't want our club to get tarred with that kind of
Yeah, quite
rush.
To be quite honest,
Yeah.
it's no better at Walsall. Never has been.
No.
The way I'm there, I mean, it's small. It's
Yeah.
it's massive queues for
Yeah.
food and drinks.
Yeah.
Stewards aren't so bad. I mean, but West Midlands police.
Well, yeah, less said about them, the better.
Ollie.
I just think, I mean, to what extent is this actually sour grapes from some away supporters?
Oh, yeah.
Because now we're limiting the number of away supporters they can have. So they've actually got less than they would have had if, say, they had to North Stand. And I think Notts County were moaning, Walsall were moaning, And I just wonder how much of that is because they can't get as many tickets
Yeah, they couldn't come with
as
a
they
mate.
would like, and therefore they look for any kind of other things to moan about.
I think that though works both ways because our fans are moaning about going to Harrogate as well.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so it
Yeah, no,
just
no,
works
no.
both ways, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
But equally, Mick, nobody moaned about going to Doncaster because they did a great job.
Yeah. but-
Yeah.
So Doncaster's been spoken up.
We allowed a lot of fans to go to Doncaster, where we are limited at, where is it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Harrogate.
Harrogate.
Yeah.
And a lot of our fans are on insane.
Yeah.
But they've
Yeah,
got-
it's the
they've-
same thing.
So it's-
Yeah, yeah.
But we were well looked after at Donny as well.
Yeah.
We were.
Neil.
I think bringing out looking at all, county fan as a friend and a COU friend as well.
Except for the
And I
toilet.
think both of them were not particularly impressed with how they were treated.
Mm.
Certainly not county fan, I know they both attended. He wasn't impressed with the stewarding at all. Same with COU friend.
I mean, I think one of the biggest issues we have is that the stewarding, we have a finite number of stewards that are Chesterfield stewards and the rest are bussed in and they could be doing whatever for whatever club every day of the weekend, you know, so they don't know the club, they don't know what they're doing, you know, there's no.
I think going back to the original thing, what you said out, Phil, at the beginning, it was brought from a League Two banter page.
Mm.
It's banter.
Yeah. There's plenty of fishermen out there, aren't there?
You're always going to
Yeah.
go things are the same about, you know, us
Yeah.
doing it, them doing it,
Yeah.
everybody doing it. It's banter.
Yeah.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the
How many
complaint she
years
made
were
about
there
not
after?
being able to get straight out when they left before the match finished, so I thought that was a little bit odd.
John, you.
Yeah, I think we've all got to accept that experience varies from club to club. And experiences of home fans are clearly different to the experiences of perception of away fans. But I remember I dropped a note to you, first game of the season at Crewe. Security was deplorable there.
Yeah.
To go into the ground at Crewe, you went through a body search.
Yeah.
And they even required me to take the contents of my pocket, coins out my pocket and show them to them. And I said, what's happening here? Because there was all these teenagers going through, not stopped at all. Oh, he says, we search you, but we're not allowed to search them. I said, well, I think you might find that the problems that security lie with those people and not the people my age. So, I mean, that's something that an experience that you don't want. It was overindulgent, let's put it that way. You don't want that sort of thing. But our experience here, when you go to other clubs, it's way, way above the norm. And much, much better.
Yeah, and let's not get ourselves with Crewe. I was sitting in the opposite stand, so I could see we got lots of our supporters who in that corner were drinking and came in at 1 second to 3 and all went in the first block, which was already full. Yet 3/4 of the rest of the stand was hardly got anybody in it. So yeah, we always don't help ourselves as well. But I think your tale of Morecambe is worth telling.
Somebody was reversing, emptying the parking space in the car park. And the temporary fencing was up to extend the area behind the away stand.
Yeah.
Was such that it was tight to do that anyway. They must have been about that far off when they finally came to the stop. But they reversed up into our fans as they were leaving.
Yeah.
Then turned towards the rest of the fans and carried on driving through them. Now, I don't know whether somebody was being serious when he said they drove half over my foot. But he shouldn't have even been reversing anyway. There was lovely little girls that sit in FS7 and sing their hearts out. The youngest of those is of a height that unless that guy had got a reversing camera on, he'd have not seen it. And she was stood on mum's right hand side, so she would have been the first thing he'd have hit.
And Morecambe have said they're investigating, aren't they?
Yeah.
On that. People, but, lots of people in the banter have made assumptions of all sorts of things about what it was and what it wasn't. But it was this car park.
Well, I took a picture of his reg. She didn't tell that he had a quite distinctive reg.
Oh right, okay.
But yeah, everyone was fun.
All right.
But I passed it on to Adam before. I think the coach had even left footprints. I think I was already sent a message to Adam.
Yeah.
Also, Morecambe, I mean, I don't know what he'd done. There was a lad thrown out.
You're one of our Chesterfield supporters.
Yeah. But the treatment he got was disgusting
Yeah.
with stewards.
Yeah.
I was quite
I
surprised
think
because Adam was stood there and I thought he'd have been dreamed into it.
It was the
I've
first,
got to say,
it was the first
time.
one, though, weren't
we
it?
watched
Two.
Yeah, and
from
it
where
was
we
the
were
third one.
at.
Yeah, what I want-
That's all they've done, I admit, but you can't treat people like treat him.
No, but on the other hand, I watched that lad literally headbutt that steward in his face and burst all his lip. It was covered in blood. And while they were trying to take him out, the lad was, it looked like an addict doing this, and he nearly hit him again. And he was trying to headbutt him all the time. So I'm sorry, but if that were me, I think I'd have grabbed hold of him and tried to defend myself.
Yeah.
But if you look, when he came back round, it was wiping all his mouth, and the paramedics walked in front of us and had to go wipe it. So, I'm sorry, he got what he deserved.
Does anyone know who that individual is?
No idea.
It's not somebody that we've seen.
Well, the other lad, the other bloke that walked past us, I've never seen him
Never
before
been to a game
either.
before.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
nobody recognised him.
It was his first game.
Oh, right.
Fell down the steps and because they were trying to stop him.
Yeah, it was his first away game, he'd not been to a away game for years.
I know who it is because you've got a picture of
Oh,
the,
right.
I've never seen
So I saw the head.
Yeah.
it.
Don't say his name, but if you want to tell Lucy at the end of it as well.
It was more
That was the guy who fell.
the
Oh,
kicking
The
off
one that,
The kicking off one.
because
Yeah, we'll not mention any
yeah,
names.
I don't know a name of the one that was kicking off. I just know the
Just,
name.
Lovely. Have we had any questions? Oh, did you want to say something, Lucy? Did you say?
yeah. So on the post about
Go on, Saul.
the whole post, I'd just say that the tone of it clearly from the start, it's
It's very
the
negative.
tone of it is not set appropriate. It is for the group. That's the problem. It is the group, and I read the group. I enjoy it. I think it is a fun group to be part of.
Couple of squiggly red lines
Yeah.
under which always puts me off. Not spelt it right.
But
It's a banter page, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
Same
is.
thing as a banter
it
page.
is
Yeah.
what it is. But some of the
Official
points,
complaints, the club can deal with it, can't they?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%.
Proper genuine.
Absolutely.
So it's good to know things, but the saying two miserable people on the door took ages for us to get through the turnstile. It's a self-serve turnstile.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah,
press a
people
button.
don't make much difference,
We
do
don't
they,
press a
really?
button and let you through.
Yeah.
We don't really do an
Yeah,
expensive
two miserable
search.
Walsall fans were chatting rather than going through the turnstiles.
And if they're all arriving at the same time.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
there's not that many.
Good
for
point,
the
that,
staff.
actually.
And then again, they left to go. He went to get
20
drinks.
minutes.
25
wasn't
minutes.
that long.
25 minutes to get a drink. There's not that many fans in this area. We can cope with that. We have the South stand that's. I know that drinks aren't speedy. I appreciate that. That is something that the club is looking at. But 25 minutes to get a drink is just it's inaccurate. And then another thing that I'd say with them saying about poor organisation of seating. It's an away game, so they've taken seating as unreserved, and then some people are trying to make it reserved.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem, is that some people were told it was unreserved, and then the stewards were saying it was unreserved, and they've been told it's reserved. So they've gone to their seats and then trying to get seats.
But I feel like this happens.
People, if somebody goes in and sits and they're not going to move, they're not going to move, will they? But I believe, and it's a long time since I've looked at this regulation, but I believe technically, if you offer unreserved seating, you've got to have at least 10% leeway. So 1,000 seater could only be 900. Well, we sell everything, so I think it is got to be. I think if you look at the rules, it would have to be reserved seating. But that doesn't mean to say people are going to do
it's hard
that.
to enforce.
Yeah, it's very difficult to enforce.
Especially with that
Yes,
volume of fans, and I believe they had a little bit more than
Yes,
usual.
But that's it. So the stewards shouldn't be telling them that it's unreserved seating, should they? There was no extra seat.
We did have issue here when the stewards from SIS first started, where actually we came into East Stand one day to our season tickets with seats which we'd sat in since the stadium opened, to find them full.
Yeah.
And the stewards had told these folks that they could sit anywhere.
We had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't my seat, but it was Robbie's next one. Stupid, so you can sit anywhere. Like, it's like season ticket seats.
And just to pick up the point that one of you, I can't remember who it was, that made about the searching of the kids. I think Adam said in here before, it's about stewards stopping people on the pitch if they're going to create a potential criminal problem. They can be dealt with.
They're not allowed to search under 18s either, so.
Is that a fault? Miss Pretty Adams not here tonight, just to answer that question. Do you, I don't know the answer about searching.
I'm not 100% sure, but I know that if a criminal offence is being committed, then they are to be treated like a criminal
I thought
because.
Port Vale were asking, I seem to remember Port Vale asking any that were under 18 if they, where their adult was, so that their adult could witness them being searched.
Yeah.
I think
But if they're between 13 and 18,
They can come on their own.
There is no adult, but they can't be searched because they're
Well,
not.
the issue is,
doing
as
anything.
I said, if you can't search somebody under 16 or under 18, they'll just put all the pyros in with them, won't they? Yeah, it's not
But they were
very
asking if there
difficult.
was another adult in their party.
Yeah, that's
So
good, yeah.
it wasn't
Where was that at?
Port Vale,
All right, okay.
but they've
Okay.
almost got a separate line for
Should have them things that we brought down.
young girls.
Yeah.
Not quite sure they pick out pyrotechnics. But,
My 12-year-old got asked to look at his pockets
Yeah.
before he went into Morecambe.
Morecambe.
I was a bit, oh, okay, but obviously I'm concerned about securing stuff and I'll not go against.
Yeah.
But he didn't actually.
Well, like I say, if you're there, it's a
Yeah.
slightly different
I was just a bit
scenario,
like,
isn't
oh,
it?
right, okay.
It would be worth checking what the rules are on age group searching. Because if it's a no, you can't, it's a no, you can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, trouble is, then people have learned. Oh, that's easy then, isn't it? That's the thing. That's what gets me. You know, the irresponsible parents or older brothers will take that as a. Oh, there are different rules for
I
football.
expect everybody at Glastonbury gets searched, you
I'd
know.
just like to add
No
something
matter
else
how
on that.
Yeah.
about
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Lucy again, just about Morecambe.
And just about what was raised about Morecambe, because while we're on the topic of away games, I knew something had happened, but I didn't realise the extent of what had happened, because their SLO hasn't said anything to me. But I'll drop them an email and just say, I heard there's been some events. Is there anything that you want us to share? Or if you need anything from us,
Morecambe will put a post about the car.
see that.
They didn't say this is a car park
Yeah.
incident, but we all know that it was
At
the
least
car park.
three statements so far, Morecambe.
I've not followed them
You know,
up.
they've not been explanatory about what the issue was, but they've made it clear that they're taking it seriously.
Because I thought, when I saw their first statement, I assumed
It's about that.
it, well, no, because I wasn't there. I assumed it was about their fans and about their
Yeah, something
you know,
in their own.
ownership
Yeah.
issues. I thought something
Yeah.
might have happened about
Oh,
that. But
I'll drop them an email and just say if they need anything from the club to help them
Yeah.
get a conclusion quicker, we can.
Yeah, they said they forwarded it on to their head of stadium operations because it initially went through to. It went through to an address at Morecambe in the end, but it was through their link on their website that I used.
Oh right.
Any questions on line?
it's been deleted, but it was just asking if there was going to be some applause on Saturday. I'm assuming something to do with Remembrance.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. I don't know if you know the programme. Do you know the programme?
Somebody's
No?
actually posted about a long-term supporter, Peter Hunt, who I know personally.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah, well, I know.
And unfortunately, Peter died towards the end of last month.
Yeah.
It's 79, and somebody's asking if we can do a mini support on 79 minutes.
Most of those are spontaneous. The last time when somebody asked that, it didn't happen, but that was when the screen was down as well, wasn't it? So, you know, a lot of them are spontaneous, but the club are aware. I don't know whether they're going to do that or not.
I will speak to Pete before weekend. I'm going to ring Susan, his wife, and ask if she's okay with it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've got photos of him, so I can, you know, if she says okay, I'll take it to Pete and leave it to Pete. So,
But for the pre-match on Saturday, there's quite a lot. I know the trust's organising it, aren't they? But there's quite a lot, as you'd expect, going on.
But just on the applause for first, so we, as a club, we can't do them in the middle of games and things like that. It's not. We can put the images on the screen.
And
to say
everybody responds.
remembering
It's
and
become
things like
spontaneous,
that.
doesn't it?
Yeah. But as a club, anything like that has to go through the EFL, and so we can't do them for. We can't do them, but fans can organise it and put it out
it
there.
usually works.
We just can't know
very
about
well
it.
here.
Yeah,
It does
so it's-
normally,
It's not something that we can support with the club and put it on our social media and things like that. However, we would never discourage fans from taking part
Yeah.
and doing
No,
anything
but what
like
club
that.
normally do in the case of that, a long service supporter, they usually put something on the official site about the passing.
It'll be Nick Johnson who
Yeah, I see.
does the screen as well. So
Yeah.
things like,
No, but Peter been coming an awful long time, hasn't he? It's, no question.
and then for the match day for the Remembrance game,
Yes.
I believe there's going to be some active, I don't know if this is the right term, active serving military. Or
That sounds right
active
to me.
serving
Yeah,
RAF.
usually is, yeah.
Quarter to 3, isn't it?
There's at least one animal involved.
They'll be coming in at 2:45.
Sheep, I think.
Derbyshire, remember?
And then there will be flag bearers and things like that. And there will be the last post played, followed by the minute silence after the last post has finished, which I think some other clubs got a little bit mixed up with that. And then both teams will have the minute silence, and then the game will still kick off at 3.
Yeah.
So it just moves everything moves a little bit earlier. So things like the sponsors, the match sponsor going on the pitch and things like that will happen just a little bit earlier. So we probably urge everybody to just get in, which we have been promoting a bit earlier, just to make sure that you're not disturbing that time just before kick-off.
And certainly, I think most of the 500 tickets of the trust have been used for ex-service personnel. I think I'm pretty sure that most of those. So there'll be a lot of ex-service personnel around, and it's worked wonderfully in the past.
I believe it's one.
It's generally one at football.
It's usually one at
Because
football.
I always played off post with
Yeah, no, I know, but at football it's generally one. The guy Morecambe did 2,
I can check.
and do you know what? It was a long, long time in a football environment. So in a football they normally do 1. Yeah, I think the league encouraged the referees to say we'll do 1, but it was a very, very long silence. You know, I sadly have to breathe heavily into the microphone in such times, because if there's no thing, it switches off automatically. It thinks something's gone wrong.
Starts playing music.
So you have to,
doesn't it?
you have to breathe
An
heavily.
Emergency
So
broadcast.
if anybody records that, you know, I could.
So I've actually got the timings. So
All right.
2:45, players begin the final prep and start leaving the pitch. Just after the flags are set up, then the music goes off, and Howard will introduce the troops. And then the players will come out at 52, handshakes at 53, sponsors photos at 54. So we're going to be running around. And then the wreaths will be laid after that, which is until 56:30.
Wow.
And then Howard will read to introduce the
benediction
last
thing, yeah.
post. And then there will be the minute silence. It is 1 minute, 58 till 59. And then the ball retrievers will remove the wreaths from the middle of the pitch to be
Wreath
placed
retrievers.
pitch side. And then kick-off is at 3. So it's the minute
Busy.
silence. then.
Busy. Do you know what? It's funny. They always do later, and I've never really noticed how they disappear back off the pitch. So as the ball retrievers, they obviously do a good job there. So it's like the Wimbledon ball. If you don't notice them, they're doing a good job. So they've obviously done a good job in the past. Any fresh questions
Yeah, I
amongst
can
our
bring
group?
up last Saturday's game.
Who was last Saturday?
Horsham,
Horsham, yes.
East Stand. Obviously, we gave them the North Stand, so there were 2 sections empty. The doors were closed, and we weren't allowed to use both sets of toilet facilities.
In the east.
Yeah.
I got my head bent several times at that.
So when you say the doors, you mean the petition?
Yeah, the big petition.
So the reason that is done is to save costs. So for many reasons, for safety reasons, for the fact that we'd have to open those bars, the fact that we'd have to then get cleaners into the toilets and things like that. When, if in theory, if that wasn't the away end, there is sufficient facilities in the rest, and the attendance was a lot lower than average of the games. I understand the frustration when there's facilities
Lots
there.
of people were not very happy about it. And I agree. There's no need to open rest of concessions, but just the toilets.
No, I do understand because the facilities are there, but from a club point of view, there is less people to use the facilities almost, and
the ratio of toilets to people will be no different
it's
to a
higher
full
than,
house.
There's more toilets for people, but say that we had sold that stand and there was empty blocks, then it probably would have been looked into. But then it's not only the cleaning of the toilets and the use of everything like that, it's also the stewarding, which is a massive cost for the club. which is huge. So if we can do things like that, people do still have sufficient facilities. But I do get it that they're there. and they're not
Did they open the
used.
exit doors properly?
Yes, yeah. They don't own it.
Yeah.
On a number of occasions, I've actually physically
Do you yourself?
opened exit
Yeah.
doors myself. We had an issue 2 or 3 seasons ago with at the other end, the south end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got 2 sets of exit doors at the end, one that goes out to the side, and one that goes out to the corner. And game after game, there was one of those was continually locked. And asked stewards to open them. No, we've been told we can't. I'll be honest, a number of occasions, particularly there were people trying to get out with wheelchairs. I just undid it myself.
Yeah. Whilst we were talking on toilets, one of the actions that I've had for a while was the accessible toilet audit. I'll put the report on with the papers. But in general, in comparison with a lot of other grounds, really, really good. There are 10 full-size accessible toilets available to people in the stadium, not including the ones in the lounges or in the hub here. 2 in each corner of the ground, with the exception of the north-west corner. And then at the high level, 2 behind the high level in the east, south end, and the west, south end of there. And the ones on the ground floor are all protected by a radar key, which not everybody has got one, but a lot of people. You've got a radar key, and I take it for Zoe. No, Zoe don't use them much, but you'll have got one, won't you? The strange thing of the ground level ones are the outer door is protected by a radar key, but then there's 2 cubicles inside that aren't. So one of the recommendations I'm making to look at is, well, because they're not areas where supporters go, and there's always people congregating, they're fenced off generally. People don't mill around. Police and stewards mill around there, but people don't. Is you might as well undo the because there's privacy locks. There's privacy locks inside.
The outer doors are usually unlocked because I've been in there.
Because they've got bolts on as well outside, which is a bit strange when they're protected by. But all of those, and including the high level ones, have all got now stainless steel mirrors in. But only one of them has got what you could call a shelf. And that's actually a baby change facility, but it's fine for a shelf. There's a couple that haven't got hooks in, but most of them have got hooks in. And Pete Whiteley, as the DLO, Disability Liaison Officer, is going to sort out to get in one of the pairs of each a shelf in, make sure that's also got a hook, and get the new that you pointed out, the Stoma bag sign. Somebody pointed it out, didn't they? The Stoma, which I wouldn't know what it meant, but people who use them will know what it means. So one of the pairs, rather than getting up all 10, one of each of the pairs ought to be another. And the other thing that was, because nobody ever looks at this really, is the signage to those is appalling. There's a sign that points down to the front, but then when you get there, you think, well, where's the toilet? You can't see it. So also it needs to be said, though, around the corner, it's out, round and round. People who come every week now. But we've got England against Germany next Friday. If anybody comes in from there, they wouldn't necessarily find those. So very, very good. Then internally in the main concourses, in all of the ladies' concourse areas, there are 2 cubicles with rails. In the gents, there's 1 with rails. Most of them have got hooks.
Not in the West Stand, because I asked about this.
Yeah, but maybe not. I've got the level of where there's a hook on every one.
No.
Or not. In the West Stand, west inside.
Northwest, there's no hooks in.
West 4, never been a hook. West 5 has got a hook. West 5 in the North End has got a hook.
Because like I said, not just for disabled people, but for all women.
They are.
You wear a big coat in the winter, trying to hike it up around.
Well, some have. There are some has, but they all ought to. They all
should have.
And then in the ladies, the very first cubicle that has got the rails in is wider, but the door isn't. The door's a 60 centimetre door,
Yes.
and whilst there are wheelchair ticket, they are wider, and so the door is that width, and the bit next to the door is quite wide, so you could actually easily put a wider door on. You
Yeah.
can't on all the others because there isn't the space, but on those, so I've got Pete to look at whether that's practical. Now, the fact that there are 10 fully accessible raised seat, blah blah blah, it'd be nice. It's not a necessity. It's a nice to have.
Although I don't, there's no, so that's the only,
No,
in the west,
but
that's the only one at ground
yeah,
level, isn't
yeah,
it?
that's right.
So-
They're for semi-mobile, semi-ambulant
Yeah.
people. But there's no reason that the bigger one couldn't
There's
be
no
for
disabled seats, though.
stone users, because most stone users, or many stone users, walk.
Yeah.
You know, so Pete is well aware of that. But overall, very good. You know, as you'd expect.
As well, because there are a lot of people with disabilities that need
Yes.
that quiet space.
Yes. Yes.
You know.
And
That's
I
really
would, you know, urge those to use the ones around the corner.
Yeah.
No question about it, because, you know, they're. Where do you sit?
South Stand.
South stand, yeah. So on the south stand, the one on the east stand,
Yes.
now the wheelchair lift's not working,
Yeah.
will rarely get used. Will rarely get used. So that's always, well, whereas there's still a lift on the west side of the south stand.
Yes.
And it would also be used by the ground level people in the west stand as well.
One thing that I'd like to add about the coat hooks, it's a frustration of mine as well. We, especially with winter, when you've got all your layers on, you've got like your jumper, your fleece, your coat, everything, and then you're taking them all off, and there is no hook. I noticed it when I had a season ticket many years ago, and I noticed that it was a problem then. But I have raised it, and plans. I'm pretty sure everybody knows, but the stadium wasn't built for so many women to come to the stadium, which is something that I'm quite proud to say, as much as it is an inconvenience. I'm so proud that we have so many women supporting the team, and even here in every part of the club there is a strong female presence. So there are plans to revamp the toilets completely. I don't think we can say too much about the plans for that. But when I put my request in for a budget for some little coat hooks to go on the back, I think I got a little bit more than I thought, and we were actually getting some sort of support with that. There's talks of all sorts of facilities outside the stadium for women. There's talks of revamping them completely, making them more aesthetic as well as more functional, and increasing the number of toilets.
I don't
So-
think we're too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe some coaches would probably, and an extra bin in the east stand would probably do it.
Yes, I made notes about hygiene bins as well in the accessible toilets, because it's a bit hit and miss.
But it's just a thing you become used to as a woman, that you don't have equitable access to toilets. You go to Wembley, St Pancras Station, New Street Station's the same, huge queue for female toilets, men's straight in and out.
It may be something that we're used to, but it's not something that we're going to put up with here.
No, correct. Well
It's
said.
something
I like the
that,
idea that
And
we-
it is really good here, and it's just the little, like I say, you know, it's just really difficult in the winter that women sit down.
But-
That's just, and trying to hike your coat up around your ears instead of putting it on the floor.
These are pictures that, you know, who knew? Yeah, Ollie, yeah. Rather than imagining about
I can't obviously run the women's toilets. But I have to say, the men's toilets are really very good. And certainly compared with a lot of other grounds I've been to, I'd have said that the men's toilets are as good as anywhere I've been. And, you know, generally speaking, it's not, I know it's always difficult for women, but for the men, I think it's pretty decent. You get in pretty quickly.
And we've got the little step in for
Good
young
hand-washing
lads in every
facilities.
facility now.
For us to trip.
Sometimes,
Yeah. In the
sometimes,
corner.
sometimes the towels run out.
Yeah,
That might be one thing, but other than that,
yeah. No,
I
I
think the
agree.
only thing that possibly the men's might benefit from is having, and it's whether they could do it, sticking another doorway in so that they've got
And
an in and an out to make it easier.
But they're quite wide walk-ins, aren't they? Some you get at some grounds that you can't get two people abreast, but you can generally.
But I love
There's
the
there's an
water.
obvious in and an obvious out,
Yeah.
because the sinks are at the outset.
But even on the in
But
and
there's
the,
nothing indicating
Yeah.
that that's in
Yeah.
and that's out. When you walk in, most people know they go to the left
Yeah.
and round, but then they know some going other end
Yeah.
and then they're walking, you know.
but Ian, there's there's toilets at away grounds that are marked in and out, and nobody at half time
Yeah.
pays any attention to that.
I do like the
I'm
fact
on
that we
about
have hot
away grounds,
water.
Phil.
Yeah.
I'm on about away
Yes.
grounds.
Yeah, I know, but people don't, the thing is, people don't abide by it.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we're quite good on hot water now. We've added that. Yeah, we've had hot water in the past, or not had hot water, which was actually the issue. Any more questions in here, Ollie?
The light show,
Yeah.
please don't do it again. It's horrendous. I mean, I've been to other grounds, I've seen it there, it's horrendous there, it's horrendous here. I'm not just being a grumbling old man.
No, you are.
No, not just, because there are other younger people who also complain. I mean, if you've got any kind of, allergy to flashing lights.
It was warned in advance,
I
by
know,
the
it
way.
can be warned in advance, but it's very difficult not to see it. Either you've got to go out or whatever. But anyway, generally speaking, it's horrendous.
What's the general view? Who thinks it's, to use Ollie's word, horrendous?
I like the intention.
Yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
it was a bit,
Is that it?
yeah.
Underwhelming.
I've got to say our underwhelming.
So it was
Yeah.
obviously a
Yeah.
commentary with
Yeah.
the goals and things.
Who thought it was really good?
But that would have been nice to have on the screen, there's a picture.
Yeah.
And that I think
So there's an odd person thinks it's horrendous, an odd person thinks it's really good, and most people are a bit underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I didn't put the big colours in, yes. I thought it was going to be music.
Yeah.
And then the commentary, I'll be honest, I thought.
I sent a video to my brother and he said, what's that all about?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
rather than this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I think until the screen's updated, it's not.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in the underwhelmed queue.
Yes, right.
I was in the underwhelmed queue. So, and to be fair, I've seen it at an event before, so I knew what to expect. Yes, more questions.
Save
More-
power,
yeah.
don't do it again.
Save power. We were saving power by turning them off.
Sorry, I'd like to.
Sorry, hold on, Lucy wants to finish
Sorry,
on
I
that.
hadn't finished speaking about the women's toilet.
Sorry.
And I
Oh,
feel
right.
like we got a bit distracted. So when I said at the big forum with Phil and Ash and John, I believe, was sat at the front.
Yeah, I think so.
When coat hooks were brought up, I spoke to them straight away, and it wasn't worth looking into it now because the plans to change the toilets were in the near future. It wasn't worth putting them on for now, but I do understand that winter's coming. So I will chase up. I'm going to pick up with Dean tomorrow if he's in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And chase up how
Peter and I, he's aware of it. Peter and I
Yeah.
spoke and we bumped into him when we were going round.
there are hooks on a lot of
A
them.
lot,
This
there
is
are.
the thing. There's not a consistent kind of theme.
How many people take the coats off and go to the toilet?
I do. I've got a long coat on, yeah.
I'm with you, I don't, that's why we all queuing outside, so we can get them dressed.
I do.
You don't get out, let them all get in. We don't want coats, we take them all.
We're talking about a lot of toilet habits here today. I want to get away with that.
When I've got my knee-length coat on though, it's the big.
Don't even take my gloves over it.
Oh God.
And someone said, if it's that much trouble, don't to the toilet till you get
My word.
We
My
have,
word.
we have noted it, whether it's your bags or your coats.
Bags.
Noted
No,
it.
bags is the
We'll
thing.
go with bags from now.
But again, I know we're talking about.
Zip up the back.
I know we're talking about our ground, and we all know the foibles and the advantages and everything of our ground. But I know when Sylvia's been to the toilet many a time, you won't want to put anything on the floor. That's absolutely for sure.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Absolutely
Definitely
for
not at
do,
Port Vale.
do not put anything on the floor at Port Vale. Do not put anything on the floor at Southend. Do not put anything on the floor on another 20 grounds that I could list off for you.
Altrincham.
By the light.
Yeah.
I mean, the toilets were leaning at Altrincham.
Yeah.
You can add Wembley to that.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. So, yes. Okay. More questions? Yes. Zips up the back of the shorts.
Right. Right. I'm not a fan of social media, but I do look at it now and again. And
Moving on.
there's talk on social media, or there's been talk about safe standing areas.
Yes.
which, to be fair, I'm so totally against, you might find that out. But the talk on social media is that if they have a safe standing area, it should be the south stand, and all them with season tickets that don't want to stand up should go in the north stand. That's what was bandied about on social
I
media.
saw that.
That's why I actually
Yeah.
come off it. And I
Yeah.
thought, I'm not having that. Because they think they can rule the roost. The majority who want to stand up,
Yeah.
think they can push the older end.
Yeah.
Well, people are just like, I always wanted to sit. When I was a kid, I wanted to sit down.
You know, and we don't want to stand up, or at least I don't want to stand up. I don't mind standing up if they get near goal when everybody else stands up.
I believe there's no plans for safe standing
So
in
safe standing
the
areas for
medium
me
term
are-
future.
What I was
unless they
told-
put them in car park.
Yeah.
Chelsea, when we went to Chelsea, the safe standing meant that you could stand, but the people that were behind you sat down should still be able to see.
Yeah.
But that's the
That
problem,
would work,
because
That
and
could
well-
down the capacity by half, I would say. In
and
the
that's the
south stand.
problem.
Yeah.
Is
So
that-
is there any talk about it in the club?
So I haven't heard anything about safe standing at the club. I know that a lot of grounds have offered it. I think it's something as well you have to offer the away the same amount of safe standing. I don't know. There's a lot of things about it, but I don't think that it's something that they are looking at.
It's not short or
There's
medium
always
term for
seats
sure.
with safe standing. There are always seats, but before anything like that was done, we'd always talk to people who it would affect, and if that would affect the season ticket holders, then it wouldn't be.
And I
so
believe they
much
said
so.
when the ground was first built, is that something to
right.
do with the
Yeah,
foundations.
the construction.
The construction of the stands did not
Would
And
not
make
allow
it to be
Yeah.
standing.
Yeah.
Shove them to North
It's
Stand.
not my call. It's not my decision. But I suspect while ever the ground is in the footprint that it is now, there'll be no safe standing. I'm pretty sure about that.
Good.
I agree.
No corners filled in.
And no corners filled in.
We're in the south stand. We sit on the
Yeah,
row.
yeah.
My
You could
husband
never
uses
put corners in,
it
'cause
right
you'd have
to
to
sit.
have floodlines, you
Yeah,
know.
Why
yeah.
should
It's not
we?
practical.
We've been there since the ground was.
Yeah.
You know, why should
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, practical.
Yes, more questions.
My season tickets,
No,
I
go
was
on.
had next to a walkway under.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that I've got sort of 3 seats where there's nobody, if you like,
Yeah.
because it's a gangway.
Yeah.
So it gives me a really good view.
Yeah,
to
no,
go.
well, I'd pick one of
And,
those. as well.
you know, that's where I sit, you know, on the end of the road.
Yeah.
And I find that, but if people on the next block all stand up, then I have to stand up.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And if they made it all standing, say, on the middle 3 blocks,
Yeah.
then. it
With,
would
with all
affect
with all the
outside
will in the
blocks
world,
just as
if
bad.
you've got Paul Goodwin in front of you on safe standing and he stands up, you're sitting behind him, you're not going to be able to see.
Well, you
Yeah.
should limit it sat down.
Yeah, that's true. And again, you know, as your spouse of a wheelchair user, if you go to a concert and somebody stands up in front of you, you can't see. So and even if it's raked, you can't.
Yeah.
You know. So
Anyway, I think that's answered
Yeah.
what I wanted
Yeah.
to know, really, whether they were.
any more guys, gals? Oh yeah, Dillis.
I don't know whether anybody else has been told this, but we've been told that no way are you to wear club colours at Harrogate where disabled sit.
Right, yeah, because it's in the home area, isn't it? The wheelchair seats are in the home area.
But then I've got a place like Harrogate where disabled have to sit with home fans.
And you can't wear the.
You can't wear the colours.
Does it say that on the ticket?
No, we're Pete told us.
Oh right, okay.
So it's
Well,
got
still
a-
don't, but I've not seen. I've not been told that.
So it's got a full array from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So they can't take everything off,
No.
so they've had it.
Good on you. Good on you. Just get Lloyd Kerry to come and stand up in front of the crowd.
Sometimes, like, you know, we do a lot of things about our clubs, and then we go to away clubs, and
Yes.
you know, you realise then how good this is now for us.
I know. But yeah, the forum is about away experiences as well. And yeah, Harrogate. I'll make a note that people are aware. Harrogate.
Could I just ask while we're about stewards? It's only just my thing. Where does busload stewards come from?
Well, the bus was from Sheffield because I saw it.
I very often see this bus going, and I never know where
It says
stewards come from.
ABC coaches from Sheffield.
It does. My friend actually works in Chesterfield, and I give her a lift from Sheffield every day. And she used to do this as a job just on Saturdays. So when we came to the game on Saturday, it was quite funny because she'd seen it from the perspective of
Are they
the
mainly
steward.
from Sheffield then?
I believe that it's
The ones that bust
a
in.
lot of people
No,
that
stewards, like.
not all of them, but there is a bus from Sheffield because a lot of people live in Sheffield, don't drive, but would really enjoy to work at the football club or work this type of role. So they do get a bus from, I think it's near the centre of Sheffield, and then it brings them here. But it's also great for us because we don't have the parking facilities. So as many people as we can get on a big bus is best because then we can have more parking for our fans, away fans.
But again, you know, we go away and we have a bigger steward to person proportion than they do at just about every other ground, don't you? We're doing it right. I'm not saying everybody else is doing it wrong, but if we're doing it right, not everybody's doing it the same. That's very much Ollie.
It's probably been mentioned before, but I know the club are very keen to get a good pre-match atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. The problem is, what's happening at the moment is that the music is so loud and so intrusive that it's impossible for the crowd to create an atmosphere. And you actually need the people in the south stand on the Kop, others, to be able to sing, to be able to chant and make real atmosphere. The problem is it goes the other way. So the kind of atmosphere being built up over the speaker, the sound system's great, no doubt about that, but it's too good. And it means, A, you can't chat to anybody, but also the crowd can't create an atmosphere.
My only thought with that, and I think what you say is very valid, is do people spontaneously sing before the match starts generally? Apart from your greasy chip butties or whatever, I don't think they do.
Well, that's an interesting point, Phil. And I think you may be right, but is the reason for that because you've got such a loud music and so on that people don't or they can't? I mean, you sometimes hear the away supporters who do, but I think given the opportunity, the home supporters would do the same. It may be they've got out of the habit of it now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think there ought to be an opportunity to see what happens.
This is something that I like to address. So there's a group chat of all SLOs in the country, no Premier League, a few Championship, but mainly League 1 and 2. It's open to everybody, but it's most beneficial for League 1 and 2s. And this is one of the biggest problems we have because it's too quiet, so we turn it up. But then the capacities are different every week. People are sat in different areas. Some parts are empty. If we test it empty, and then we're like, right, we've got the volume sorted, and we've gone and tested it in all different locations. Then when there's so many bodies in the pitch, in the stadium, it's different. Or if we've got the weather, that every single factor changes it, and you wouldn't think that it changes it that much. But it is something that every club just cannot quite get right because there's so many little factors. But it is definitely something that we want. We want people to build atmosphere up. There's just no kind of set it to volume 10 or set it to volume 12. It's going to have to be something that the people on the day, on match day, look at. But maybe we have somebody such as yourself who says, yeah, it's good. Even if we just drop you a text or something and say, how does it sound in South? Tick. How does it sound in Eve? Tick. Like, we just do it like that because it's a game almost to try and match all the factors, and we'll have it on in the day. It'll be absolutely blaring, and you could probably hear it from the other side of Chesterfield. And then when we've got full stadium, it's too quiet, and so it's about hitting that balance. But I think maybe that is something that we could do.
And everybody's got different views, haven't they? I think the ones that get people going pre-match, because to say I don't remember any grounds really getting singing. Not in the UK. I mean, you might go to Istanbul Derby and get something different. But in the UK, the continent's a lot more orchestrated, isn't it, rather than spontaneous. Are the ones where it's the loudish music, but it's clap, clap, clap. I think when people start clapping to the beat, that's the one where the atmosphere starts the most. My view, but it's all our personal views, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a very amusing letter in. This is what prompted me really. I'll just read the last bit.
Is that when Saturday comes?
When Saturday comes, and at the end of it, it's a guy from Watford, and it said, fans arriving for the game against Coventry in September heard a man with a microphone before kickoff apologising there was no pre-match music or entertainment. because of technical problems. All he did was read out the team sheets. Thank God for that, said my neighbour in the Upper Graham Taylor stand.
Yeah.
But that's quite amusing.
Yeah. It's technically incorrect that because, of course, it should be managerless Coventry City after today.
But this is printed before that.
Any more? Yes.
About 3 weeks ago, I tried to email you. There was a problem with
We know.
it came from the doctor.
Forum at, yes.
I wondered if had it been installed.
No.
Oh. Right.
No. I've started copying in people who might start kicking bottoms because it's not good enough. It worked for a year and then it stopped working. And it's all about, you need to do this, you need
It's
to do
your
that.
email address.
Well, it bounced back from Paul's.
I know, that's what I, that's
as
why,
well, you know.
that's what I
So
said.
I've sort of said mine recognises Forum as a person, but why did it work for a year and now it stopped working? It worked perfectly well for a year. So yes, it isn't working properly. Some get through, but there's no.
And I tried twice.
Yeah. There's
The
no.
thing
no
was-
yeah.
When I sent that one, that didn't say anything about it having an issue with yours or
Yeah.
Paul's address.
Yeah.
It just said Forum app didn't work.
Well, I sent a test message today and it bounced back on Paul's.
And
Because
the
of
one I
Paul's.
sent yesterday as a test, it bounced back on yours and Paul's as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why I screenshot
Yeah, no,
the
well,
code.
yeah.
All I was going to say in the email was that I'd listened to a podcast about history, etc. This was going to be done every year.
Yeah.
And I'd say how much I enjoyed it. I worked with Stuart Massey.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. But when
No,
I
he's listening to podcasts. Yeah?
Yeah.
Talking about technology, he's listening to podcasts.
I'm not good on very
And talk about history. The trust has received, or has been, will receive, I don't know if they've physically received it yet, a grant, not a huge one, but as part of the heritage and what we're going to try and get out of this chunk of money is a history timeline down the length of the back of the East Stand. That's chosen because the West Stand is in two halves. The South and the North Stands have got lots of turnstiles, lots of bits that it doesn't lend itself to that. So it can be used on tours for educational purposes, school visits and everything like that. And we're looking at getting a little bit of pre-1866 history, but 1866 to today with a football club. I had a meeting yesterday with a local historical society who are going to put together local history in the timeline, and we'll also do world history for memorable events or whatever. So when we're formed, Americans are still fighting between themselves. And they still are. Nothing changes. So if any of you have been in the box on a tour or whatever, that's the inspiration. So each thing will have 40 to 50 words. It won't be a great essay. Stage 2, probably we might put a QR code on there so you can listen to something a bit more. So that's we're hoping to have got that done for the start of next season, realistically. So it's a 60, 70 metre. We'll not be putting it in Little East, because that could well be still. So we're doing, and we're also going to try and get on permanent loan the relevant boards that we had in the exhibition at the museum in 2002 when we put together. So there's about 8 or 10 of which the more recent ones will not be valid anymore, but the historical ones will be valid. So making that as a focal point for a history line and looking at. It's got us looking at various other things as well, which, I'm not saying this will be done in phase 1, but putting projectors up on match day, painting a breeze block wall white and showing some old football matches or something. Yeah, not last week's, historic.
I was up in the box yesterday, and that's really good.
It's good, terrific, isn't it? Yeah, and that, most of those are 40-ish, 40 to 50 words. And so, I was meeting with the historical people, and we've said about popular culture, all various bits and bobs. So, the type of things that we talk about, fire at the Crooked Spire. So we want people to have a little bit of knowledge of the thing, not necessarily know the detail, but not from a local history point of view, have something about somebody nobody's ever heard of and don't really know what they did, which might be very valid. But whereas something about the Crooked Spire, something about the Tube Works related to playing Walsall every year and sponsoring the game, or whatever, whatever it might be, and somebody was talking about that. Can you remember it? The German crane. Who remembers the German crane at Markham's? Yeah, I can't remember it. I've got a picture of it being sent. The German crane at Markham's, massive crane that dominated the skyline. No. This was up until the early 60s. So the tunnelling drill, that's good local history and everything like that. So that started in a fashion. So that'll be nice to do that and lends itself to the East End. Marcia.
Not sure if you're aware, but the flag bearers on Saturday are Wingerworth Juniors under 9s who are walking from Wingerworth to the stadium in memory of their former coach, Glenn Kirkwood.
Oh,
and the
nice.
funds would go to Macmillan. And then somebody had put on about the tannoy being too loud.
Too loud, there you are.
Yeah. And then somebody else
wasn't
has
Polly
put-
Ardo, was it?
And then somebody's put about bird droppings are becoming a problem again in the West Stand.
Oh, right,
When
okay.
in the lounge last week for a change, he noticed that some of the padded seats had it on them as well. So
Right. Yeah. Well, when I arrived, they're always out. There's always a troop of people cleaning them. But and the seagulls seem to have got away a little bit more, don't they?
They do bag the seats.
Yeah.
Any seats that are problematic.
Yeah, where their perch is up
They're
there.
always bagged. Well, every day of the thing. And then we do have a team that goes around and wipes them all before.
Yeah.
So it might just be that unfortunately they've just happened just
Yeah.
freshly before the
Freshly
people
going.
had gone out to their seats.
and they just need to speak to a steward and see if they can get some
Yeah.
one of the cleaning crew to go and
I know it's for a different rationale, but I went to Lords back end of September, which rainy season, and the match was delayed for a little bit, and most of the seats there aren't undercover. So when you went up through the vomitories, the stewards have got those great big rolls of blue paper, so you wipe your own seat, and it might be useful just to have some of those around, knocking about
I don't think it's something
for
that's
people to clean their own.
because we clean every seat if there's a problem before the game. I don't think it's something that the club would invest in at the moment, but there are always the toilets to go and get the paper towels from, which are always stocked up. That would probably be a fix, but again, it shouldn't be an issue because we do have people that clean.
It is an issue for somebody, isn't it? So, do we know who it was with the name? I don't know the full name.
Hello,
Details of what stand?
Starlight.
Didn't say
West
what stand.
Stand,
West
it said-
Stand.
If it's
the lounge.
persistent,
It was a padded seat that
West
was
Stand.
seen.
Yeah. Okay.
if it's persistent, if you send it over to me,
Yeah.
we can look into it because, like I said, there's people that do check them before.
Yeah. No, I see him. I see him every week.
Yeah.
I see him every week. Any more?
Can I just ask Lucy about your role and about advertising it a bit more and letting people know, because I know you're here
Yeah.
and I know it was announced when you started, but I don't know if everybody is aware of what you do, your role, what you're looking to do for the club to help everybody with the support. So I just think it might be quite good if you could perhaps put something out there, or if you could just share
Definitely.
maybe a bit more with
To be
everybody.
fair, we did request it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did with Nick. Yeah.
And asked that that you did some sort of video interview
Mhm.
introducing yourself and the role and that. But unfortunately, when Nick put the brief announcements out, I think he was on holiday.
Probably. I've had a
Again.
few of those. I've had a
Yeah.
few of those. It's not something that I'm objective to. Sorry.
Would it be possible to do like a wee article in the programme or something?
Yeah, just something
Yeah.
about what
Something
you
on the
do.
website.
It's got to be on social media or website.
Yeah.
Nobody buys programs
Yeah,
anymore.
both.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm objected to at all. It hasn't been mentioned to me. It's not
I think
true.
not.
In all fairness, it's not something
Interesting.
that I've said I want a space in the programme.
To
Equally, because
be-
that feels a
to be
little
fair-
bit.
To be
a
fair,
little
the
bit.
programme wouldn't work. I mean, we're averaging close on 9,000 a home. We're selling 400 programmes.
does.
But some people don't use social media, but would read a programme. So I think you've got to remember that you've got to try and reach the wide range.
Yeah, it's not something that I'm objected to. If we pop it in the minutes, it makes it a little bit easier for me to then talk to Nick about it, because obviously it has been raised here.
Yeah, it was on the last supporters forum minutes. I knew it was on somewhere.
But the role that I am taking, so I started within the commercial team in March when I did start. We'll do videos also just to tell people that here. I started the commercial team in March, and that is a role that I still do. So I work with a lot of clients in Chesterfield. A lot of what I'm doing at the moment is working with new businesses and new clients, just introducing myself, introducing the club, and making a good relationship with them. So, for example, a lot of places in the town centre, I'm talking to them about if there's any opportunities that we might have that would suit them. And it's not straight advertising, it's all about forming that relationship and finding the best things for them, which aren't always paid. A lot of it might be contract deals and things like that. So that's what I do on the side.
Yeah.
I'm also doing a degree, so I'm out of office every Wednesday because I'm studying a degree on the side of the role. So other than that, I'm in 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, besides Wednesdays. And I'm here every home match as well at the club. In terms of
the minute, and it's in the public domain, so people have seen it, but just a reminder, after the last full committee meeting, an introductory video similar would be a good idea. A written introduction has been completed, but the feeling of the committee was that an introductory video was still a good idea.
And then in terms of the SLA role, it's something that I took on about 3 months ago. It isn't something that we've ever had at the club, so it's something that I'm finding my feet with, the club's finding its feet with. We're all doing it for the first time, so things even like this, it's the first time that I've been able to attend a fans forum. So we're kind of all finding our way and paving how we want it to be, as much as it's for the fans and the club. The way that I see it is to be the middle person between the fans and the club. The main thing that I want to do is make actionable changes that have come from the fans to then improve the match day experience and the experience beyond. But match days are obviously the day that we get the most people in the ground. So that's kind of where I want to make that impact. And there's things that are ongoing. A lot of it takes a lot of time because, again, it's not something that we've had. And so there's a lot of changes that I put forward that we have to kind of work away, or like it'll be something for accounts. So a lot of it does get passed on to other people to form a response, and then I come back with it. But then a lot of it's also talking to other clubs. So, for example, Morecambe, they hadn't reached out to me, whereas they probably should have on their end. And if we ever have any problems at away games, that's what the email's for, the SLO email. Or even home games. So somebody left a water bottle and the child didn't have it. So then I went and found the water bottle and gave it them back. Just little things like that.
I think it's important that that
people know.
goes out there.
People don't know.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
But that's what you do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, it'd be
I'll
really
prod
good
Nick
to
again.
put something out there just to say, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a case of using, Facebook, the website, the programme,
Yeah.
everything possible. But
Yeah.
you can.
It can easily, I'm sure it can go in the programme, what was put out on social media that can go in the programme.
Yeah.
But a video as well would be
as much as possible.
useful.
I mean, would Liam put something in Derbyshire Times or the principal?
Liam will put anything that gets clickbait on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're watching, Liam.
He might be a bit occupied for the next few weeks.
Oh, yeah. Getting wedded and all that sort of stuff.
Oh,
Any more questions? Yeah, Ian.
Something we mentioned last season about the walkway through the Tesco.
Yes.
Just below the
About the drop.
Yeah. Well, of course, after we mentioned it last year, the 3 matches, there were a cone there stopping somebody parking. But that drifted off after that. But we've noticed this year, there's actually some bigger vehicles parking in it, like big 4x4s and pickup trucks. And last week, we noticed somebody in a wheelchair trying to get through. And you just can't.
Yeah,
Plus the fact people having to walk on slippy grass outside when it's wet to get back on it.
Yeah. So the cone's not there anymore.
It isn't, obviously if all car park spaces are full, then.
Yeah. Did you manage to get a car park space sorted out, Sarah?
No.
Because somebody did pop one that they were getting rid of theirs. I don't know if it's gone yet, and I know the individual. If you're interested.
I know the.
What, Dave McPhee? Yeah.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
he does. No.
Yeah, he put it out. I was with David yesterday. So, yeah. Okay, any more before we wrap up? We've wrapped up. Thank you very much for attending. Next full committee meeting for those on the committee, 23rd. Next meeting, if I remember,
Oh,
5th
right. I won't
December,
be
is it?
here.
5th of December.
I won't be here. I'll be in Sunderland, Stroke
Sunderland?
Gateshead.
Well, I want to guess that. Is there a football match going up against Swansea or something?
No.
So thank you very much, everybody, on
Sunderland.
YouTube as well.
Yeah,
Thanks very
thank
much.
you.
I'm not disappearing straight away if anybody wants a word.
Yeah.
What was the most that we had on? About
21.
21. So about.
Can the movement post-final whistle be policed better twice in recent weeks?
Thanks, Lucy. I know you've got to shoot.
Nearly hitting little kids in the dark.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we can do, you know. Well, like I say, I do know what else we can do, but I don't know what legally they can do.
Yeah.
Apart from, like I said, take the. I don't
That's
see
the only thing
that
they can
would
do,
be a
isn't it?
problem, but
That's the only
we'll,
thing they can
we'll
do.
try again. We'll ask them again. Right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
We'll
thank you.
talk to you soon.
Feel like I'm so sorry I can't come to
Yeah,
that meeting.
yeah, I don't.
It's just
Like, yeah, well, that's fine.
we're biggest thing in